Hi all. Right, I'm still here with DD at Saipan. This would be part 26 if things keep going. However, I have come up today, not long finished work, and press record. So, yeah, we still aren't any wiser regarding all these questions. So, I'm going to just keep things ticking over, but as for do we know if we're allowed to carry on? Did we satisfy the victory conditions? Should the reinforcements be just mixed into the cup? And a few other things that probably would need fixing before I carry on. Like I say, I don't know yet. So, yeah. Right, that didn't start well. I got interrupted in the first minute. Right, not sure what I was going on about. Yeah, it was about how we're not sure about things. But again, I'm like, not sure what I'm doing. Don't want to wipe this off the table yet. Can't really set anything up on the other table because I've got friends coming up, blah, blah, blah. And mind you, I've still got these two other games on this table. I've got Fire in the Lake, and I've still got Empire of the Sun set up, which I'm unlikely to go back, really, to. And Fire in the Lake, I'd set that up again because I'd got the Truang bot expansion. I'd had that when I got the actual main game, I think. Well, maybe not right away. Anyway, you're not here to talk about that, are you? So, but I could put that away, I suppose. But right. Well, I know, I remember talking about, like, there's some things that changes just before we start Game Turn 5. And also Game Turn 5 changes things up a little bit. We get an HQ phase. There's a second event phase. The Japanese have a raid phase. So these are all these three things kick in on Game Turn 5. There's a lot of issues, clans, we can garrison, set command posts out, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, another one of the things is, do we fully understand command? And well, one of the big ones is HQ phase step number 4: assign tank and engineer units to US battalions. I don't think Martin knows either, but I've got no clue what that means. Joe talked about it being from reserves, but I was reading a bit about that earlier, and how you put units into reserve. Now there's counters for that somewhere. Yeah, there's one there. There's one there. So a reserve counter, and my thinking is that I could maybe put this guy into reserves, and then while he's in reserves, he can recover. He can replace some of his points, and then I can take him out of reserve. How that all links up with this assigning tanks and engineers, I've no idea. So there's probably going to be some bits that I've not got a clue, and I'm just going to have to guess my way through. But Joe eventually will come back with these answers. But then I might be at a stage where I sort of think, look, I'm better stopping here and either starting the game again from there, or coming back to it at a later time and starting afresh. But at the moment, because I've not really got much more to do, yeah, I might as well keep this ticking over. So there's three things that were in my head. I remembered it was 3. Now what were they though? Yeah, first one was disrupted Japanese units. Yeah. All Japanese disruptions are removed at the end of the last game turn of each day. And it's got an important note. Game turn 1 is the AM game turn of 15th of June. Game turn 4, which is what we've just finished, is the PM game turn of 15th of June. And it was Martin pointed that one out to me, because I think I was wanting to do it every game turn. I was thinking every game. Well, I was looking at the clock, because not a clock as such, but it tells you 1200, 1600, and then 2000 or something. I mean, to me, they're all PM game turns, but I wasn't meaning that. I was just meaning the last one of the day. So Well, there's the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to undisrupt all these Japanese units. So there's that one there, and there's another 3 in here, which I will take away. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now, the other one was what we've seen on the end of turn phase on the sequence track. At the end of a PM game turn, if a Japanese position that is in communication is empty and a US unit is adjacent, a unit is randomly picked from the Japanese reserve units pool, if one is available, and placed in the position unrevealed. Okay, so I don't think we have any, and I know I kind of sort of slightly out of sequence put, yeah, it was this LVTA into here, wasn't it, when I realised that this would have taken a reserve unit. I mean, I hadn't moved the unit. Okay, I'd done that close combat. I should have done this first, but I'm pretty sure it didn't feel to me like it was like breaking the rules to an extent that would bother me anyway, shall we say. And there's the only other ones in these LVT. Now, you could say that there's an LVT still sitting in here and here at the moment, because they go away at the end of the turn too. So what is the order that you would do this? Would you remove them from the game, or would you check these hexes for this situation? However, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what order they would be looked at. However, it doesn't matter, because Japanese communication is not traceable at that hex, and it's not traceable at that hex. And that's only 2 I can see that are adjacent to US units. Yeah. Okay, so that was that bit. Now, the final bit that I wanted to... yeah, because I was glancing through the rulebook earlier just to sort of prepare myself for this and find out if there was anything else that I needed to... Something's niggling me that there's some other things that I need to know, but it could just be that we've got 3 new phases that we're at. Well, a second event phase is obviously similar to the first event phase, but you've got this HQ phase and this Japanese raid phase, which I maybe should have looked more into as well. It says beginning game turn 5, US player must check for gaps in the line that could trigger Japanese gap attacks. So it says beginning game turn 5, but I don't think we look at it until step 7 of the sequence of play track. So yeah, I haven't looked at what that entails, so you can see that I'm probably going to go through that phase and say, oh right, if I played it again, I would shore some of these gaps up, but I don't know, we might have. I mean, it looks like it's all quite a tight kind of line. There's a sort of gap in this area here, but I don't know if that's what it's meaning. I don't know the relevance to it yet, so I haven't looked at it, but I'm going to have to if we keep going. Right, so yeah, and the last bit was our game turn 5 landing units, right? These are the 2 battalions that are coming in on game turn 5, and with that, and I read it when we were placing these, that heroes, if playing the campaign game, well, if we're carrying on, then that's what we're attempting to do. If playing the campaign game, A, if there are no heroes on the map, the player may randomly pick 2 heroes. One may be placed with any unit of each marine division. And then B is talking about if you've only got 1 hero on the map. Well, we don't have any heroes, so I'm assuming I can do that now. This is game turn 5. We're about to land these units. So I'm going to do it now. So I was reading a bit about the heroes, and that's a nice wee change up to the game. I dare say this might have been an Iwo Jima as well. I talked about it briefly before about the fact that there's 3 different types of heroes. You have a rifleman, you have an NCO, and you have an officer. Now, my guess is I've got them in a cup here, so my guess is, I suppose we should look at the ratio we've got, that most of them are going to be riflemen, you would think. Yeah, Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, there's only 8 still, so you've got 1, 2, you've got 4 riflemen out of the 8, so yeah, 50-50 chance of getting a rifleman. You've got, right, there's only 1 officer. You've got 3 NCOs and you've got 1 officer. However, the officer's really good. It gives you the flanking weapon requirement, it gives you the CC weapon requirement, which is like just pretty amazing to start with. And then there's a couple other things that it does as well, and it also gets attached to a battalion rather than just a company, whereas the rifleman and NCO are slightly different. Well, I'm not quite sure about the differences between the NCO as well. The NCO, I want to say, brings the close combat as well, maybe? Close combat? I think, well, we'll find out. Right, so I'm going to draw 2 of these. Now, I know I've got a slight issue here, and this is in the 4th Division side, and the fact that this HQ is not in command, is not going to be in command. So we're going to have to look at how that kind of operates. Maybe need to again glance back at Martin's, the answers he got regarding that, but they were, like I say, I don't think the answers were complete. Well, they certainly weren't, because I'm pretty sure that was part of the questions that have been sent off to Joe to try and get some clarity with it. So I know there's an issue there, but I get the feeling it would have to be either an NCO or an officer that would benefit me from that. Well, let's just draw these at random. So what I think I'll do is I'll draw them both and then make my decision of where they can go. I mean, it doesn't really tell me, you know, because I want to see which one's which before, so I don't know. Right, so shake that cup up and let's see if we can get that officer. That would be good. I'm going to have that one there, which is a rifleman. It's alright, I'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's a rifleman, let us say 50-50 chance. So, well, there's only 3 riflemen left now. Let's at least get an NCO, at least. Hopefully. Right, take that one there. NCO, good. Right, so we've got 1 rifleman, 1 NCO. Now let's just see the differences here then. Right, so looking at page 22, this is where it tells you about the heroes. Rule, well, 10.1 tells you, it gives you a wee bit understanding of what what they are, officers. Sorry, heroes. I'll not read that. I'll just deal with the rules side of it. 10.1.1, which is hero entry, which I suppose is what's happening right now. Heroes are randomly drawn from a cup. Okay, this is a kind of special instruction, but we still randomly drew them. If a rifleman or NCO is picked, he is placed with a specific rifle company and stays with that unit until removed from play. Okay, so that's the situation we're in. And then it describes an officer. An officer is placed with any one specific US rifle battalion. He may be moved to and from any unit within the battalion, using normal unit movement, including movement under fire and infiltrating fire until removed from play. I would still assume that any unit within the battalion would mean either the three companies of the battalion, or maybe the headquarters of the battalion headquarters. Because when some other units come under their control, because I think the officer controls other units as well. Yeah, well, okay, well, we've not got an officer anyway, but that's the differences. So we're going to put these on a specific company, and it's going to sit with that company the rest of the game until it gets killed. It gets flipped over to its inspired side, and if it gets killed again, then, you know, if it gets hit once, it goes inspired, and if it gets hit again, it's removed from play. So hero command 10.1.2, a hero rifleman's company. So this is a rifleman, right? A hero rifleman's company is always in command. Yeah. All the units in a hex are in command if an NCO hero is present in the hex. All the units in a hex are in command and NCO. So whereas the rifleman can only control the battalion that he's attached to, sorry, the company that he's attached to, then other units that are stacked with an NCO are going to get a command as well, are in command as well, sorry. And when this says in command, this is a bit that kind of throws you, because you want to go back and look for free actions. And well, mind you, I think that straightens that out, because Martin's already said you don't get actions. You don't get actions if you're not in command. Well, hold on here though. Well, that's saying they're in command though, Grant. Yeah, I went back to look at free actions, and yeah. What does it tell you about heroes here? A unit stacked with a hero or inspired marker would get a free action. Well, this is talking about in command, and I think if you're in command, my assumption was that you were getting an action anyway. So I think it's if you're not in command, you get a free action. Well, why does it tell you about a unit stacked with a hero inspired marker there then? Then again, up until turn 4, at the end of turn 4, this whole command thing doesn't really kick in, does it? So maybe that's why it needs to be specified there that a unit stacked with a hero or inspired marker would get a free action. Either that or, yeah, I'm still not grasping the command situation. So yeah, I'll just read on what an officer hero keeps all units of his battalion plus any engineers and tanks stacked with them in command if the units are stacked with or adjacent to the officer hero. So he's got a much better ability. He's got adjacency to command as well, and he can do tanks, engineers. Again, how they all become attached, I don't know. And then an officer hero stacked with a battalion HQ allows the player to remove disruption markers from all of its companies at the end of any US action phase. Now, I know I'm reading on that and we've not got an officer, but it was just to let you know how powerful that could be. That tells me that you could end up with disrupted units after the US action phase, within units getting disrupted within the US action phase. Then if you had an officer that would remove that disruption, I think that's what that's saying. And then an officer hero allows a moving stack to pick up units as though they began movement together. So it can start moving and pick up a unit and take it with it. So pretty cool, like. So what do these, we don't have an officer, so we don't get all that. So what do we get with a rifleman and a hero? So 10.1.3, hero attack wildcard. This is the same as the old stuff. A hero stat with a unit attacking a Japanese unit from an adjacent hex provides the attack with one of the following benefits. When checking to see if the units have the weapons required to defeat the Japanese position, the hero counts as one required weapon of your choice. So it says of your choice here, but then the important bit kicks in here and says, an officer hero meets the requirements for flamethrower, flanking, or close combat, right? Is that directed to 8.23? Is that just talking about close combat? Close combat requirement. Yeah. So you can see how strong that is. But then an NCO, so we do have an NCO hero meets the requirements for close combat. So so I assume that doesn't do the flanking or the flamethrower. And then a rifleman hero does not meet the requirements for flamethrower, flanking, or close combat. See, I'm not sure if why, it says, why not do it properly so you can see? Does it show them in the thing? Maybe. I don't think it does it? In the weapons thing. Because the first two are about what the hero can give, and then the last one about the rifleman is what the hero does not give. So an NCO hero meets the requirements for CC. That's all it says. Is that all it gives? Hang on. If you read it again, Grant, it's maybe a bit clearer. When checking to see it, hang on. Okay, here. Sorry, strange. I'm right on top of things here. So, yeah. When checking to see if the units, a hero stat with a unit attacking a Japanese unit from an adjacent hex provides the attack with one of the following benefits. So it can give one of these benefits. Oh, the or is to go with 2, isn't it? Yeah, the important note is just in between. That's not helping me. Just again, this could just be the way I'm reading it, and it might be simple. To be honest, I thought I had this before, and I'm reading it now and getting confused. When checking to see if the units have the weapons required to defeat the Japanese position, the hero counts as one required weapon of your choice. So, can we just say that any one of the heroes provide any of the basic... Well, I say the basic weapons because flamethrower is kind of like one of these basic weapons. So, and yeah, it kind of, it could have been laid out slightly better, no? Am I being... No. So, okay. So it can give you any weapon. Well, let's read on and just see if it clarifies it. An officer hero meets the requirements for flamethrower, flanking, or CC. Well, flamethrower was one of the any weapons, in my opinion, but it's saying it there that it gives you the 3. Unless... No. Because the hero counts as one required weapon of your choice. Surely that's considering all the basic weapons. That's what they used to do. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. And then an NCO hero meets the requirements for CC. So that, okay, maybe the way I read that initially was that an officer can give bazooka, machine gun, mortar, radio. So I'm reading that off of this. Yeah, there we are. So that's all the weapons. Well, in actual fact, it's more than that, isn't it? Bazooka, machine gun, mortar, radio, demolitions, flamethrower, artillery. I think that's it, isn't it? So artillery was the other one. Oh, and naval artillery. NA. So, and going by the old game, that's what happened. The hero wasn't allowed to give you flanking, and it wasn't allowed to give you close combat. I'm pretty sure the flamethrower bit come into it. So it seems to tell me that the officer can give you all of the ones that I just said, including the flamethrower and flanking and CC. Then when we come to the NCO, well, I can only guess from that he does not give flanking, which is, I understand that, but I can only guess from that he also does not give the flamethrower. Because surely it would be there, wouldn't it? Whereas, if I'd read that first, I would have thought he would give flamethrower, because flamethrower is one of the basic requirements. And I'm only thinking that it doesn't give it because it's written there. So I'm not 100% sure if the NCO does allow for a flamethrower. I would have to say no. But then then it talks about the rifleman does not meet the requirements for flanking, CC, or flamethrower. That could have been better, couldn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's just a Grant thing. So I'm going to assume the rifleman's straightforward because it tells you what it can't do. The other ones, I'm going to assume that the NCO we've got can do all the basic weapons apart from a flamethrower and CC. That's the best I can get out of that. There is a chance that he might be able to cover a flamethrower as well, but I think why would, surely if it tells you about the officer being able to do a flamethrower, it would tell you the NCO could do a flamethrower, would it not? So I'm going to assume that he can't. And of course the other thing that they can add instead of the wildcard weapon is one extra strength point. but they can only do one or the other. And if you've got multiple heroes involved, you can only do one of these things. You can't do more than one. And also, if a hero is involved in a CC, we get to draw an additional card. You've got Hero Sacrifice, where if you stacked with a unit that's only got one step left, you can sacrifice something to save the step. And then you've got Inspired Units. When a hero's killed or sacrificed, the marker's flipped over and remains with its unit until it's killed again. I think there was a little bit question Martin was asking about that because it wasn't clear. It says a unit with an Inspire marker may convert one step loss into a disruption by eliminating the Inspire marker. I think that's something new that I've not seen before. And an Inspired unit does not receive the hero's attack wild card bonus or CC card draw. What was Martin asking about then? If it adds a strength still, maybe, because it doesn't talk about the strength. I don't know. He did ask. One of the questions was about that. I'm not quite sure, but it was regarding when it was inspired. Unfortunately, I think Joe initially said Inspire markers are different from heroes, and kind of that was the answer that it gave. But I mean, Martin knew that. It's just the answer was we needed more, more. Okay, so well, I guess. Yeah, it's not really... Well, I've still got that situation up there. But between the two heroes, this one is probably better in a position that we might be wanting to... Well, see, this unit here has got CC on it. Which is... I don't really want to put on one of the guys. So that's the guys from the other... I don't know how they get... How did they get command then? They don't have a... I don't even think they've got a battalion HQ. Sorry, a regimental HQ, have they? It tells us that they get command from somebody else, but I mean, which regimental HQ do they go under? Is it the 8th one? I mean, it just says, when we were deploying them, it says important, the 29th Battalion, well, it calls it battalion there. To me, I'm going by how I've understood to be reading these things, it would be the 1st Battalion of the 29th Regiment, but I don't know. It says the 29th Battalion is attached to the 2nd Marine Division. So that's kind of all it says. I don't know, I mean, all I could really take from that is we're oh well, that's not got a regimental HQ close to it, is it? So I may have messed that up. Yeah, because I was just looking at that guy being within 2 of that guy. Sorry, that's just off. Being within 2 of him, and then I think he's stacked with another one, isn't he? Yeah. So that's 3rd Battalion of 8th Regiment, 2nd Battalion of 8th Regiments under there, and 1st Battalion of 8th Regiments there. Well, this guy's down here, and I guess he's got to be in command to be able to do stuff too. You know what then? Maybe that is a good place to put that NCO then. Did I take something off this yet? No, that was there. Because also, what did it say if it was stacked with? All the units in a hex are in command if an NCO hero is present in the hex. All the units in a hex are in command. That doesn't really differentiate. It just says all the units in a hex. Oh, maybe this is a good place to put this then. But I need to still attach it to an actual company. Yeah, he's got a step loss as well then. Well, you know what? Let's just attach it to that company then, with the step loss. And part of the reason for doing that also, is like I said, we can now attack that and we'll have the weapons, rather than have to go in and close combat it. So, shall we just do that and point that NCO on there? and then it'll also put this whole stack in command, and the fact that this is going to be in command is relevant because then it'll be able to command this. And if any of the other units are round about. Right, so that is... hang on though, I'm allowed to do that. Well, yeah, because if that's part of the 2nd Marine Division, because I was allowed one in each division. It's not a brilliant place to be having it. Well, mind you, we do need to bash our way through these, so maybe, I don't know. Well, let's just go with that. Right, so I'm going to find one... The rifleman's going to be across in the 4th Division then. Okay, there's a relevant bit. I was just looking to find out more about command and the HQs in particular. You know, before I placed this rifleman, I was talking about issues up here. But first of all, it says an infantry battalion HQ unit is always in command of itself. Now, I'm going to have to look at Martin's question to get my understanding of this. The other thing it says here is a battalion HQ also commands any tank or engineer unit from the same division stacked with any of its rifle companies. Now, I maybe not have read that properly. So, for instance, and that's a step loss. Yeah, I mean, any of these guys that are stacked with an engineer or with a tank, and as long as the infantry company was in command of its HQ, see, it's like a chain of command, isn't it? It's like, I mean, I kind of thought this needed to be within 2 of this to be in command, but it is saying that it's always in command. Yeah, it says, important, enemy field of fire units have no effect on this range. B, the battalion HQ must be in command from its superior regimental HQ. Yeah, Martin's right. I thought I kind of had this done and dusted, but he was saying he still wasn't sure about how it worked, and yeah, when reading that, I'm not sure myself, because let's go and see what the answer that he did get up to now. Okay, I just dragged the camera over to the other side of the table here, it's close to the computer, just so I can read this. Martin's question was the confusion about command, right? I'll not go through the questions. The answers that he got, units that are not in command may only do 3 actions. So, I dare say you could be talking like removing disruption, preservation moves, and whatever else gives you a free action. And the second answer to the question that he asked was regarding the battalion HQs, because this is about I was reading, the battalion HQ must be in command of its superior regimental HQ. And he says, either way, I can't see that the rules explain what happens if the battalion HQ isn't command. Does it lose all its capabilities? Or Joe answered, battalion HQs that are out of command can only command units it is stacked with, i.e. the command range is 0. Okay, so, and then the other answer I noticed he got was basically after getting turn 4, units are in command if they are within command range of either of their HQs, so the battalion HQ or the regimental HQ, or the respective command post. So if you broke the regimental HQ into a command post, if they're in range, they're in command. All such units also get free actions, right? And then units that are out of command can only do 3 actions, and the 3 actions per division are no longer used. Is this correct? And Joe said yes, that's correct. So that kind of tells us what we need to know for now, I think. Anyway, because I think that's what I was getting baffled by as well. I say Martin obviously looked at this long before I did, because I guess I knew this wasn't really going to kick in until game turn 5, and I thought, right, well, there's no point bothering too much about that. But here's game turn 5, and we still, you then need to the answer. So, and I'm just wondering. Hang on. Right, sorry, I'm back at the computer again because there was one other thing I wanted to look at, and that was the questions that Martin had put together to send to Joe. And the only one that he needed still regarding command, it's command posts and command. And his question is, if a battalion HQ and its companies start turn 5 more than 2 hexes away from a regimental HQ, which is a situation we've got, is it correct that only the battalion HQ can act that turn, ideally to move closer? So that's his question. My guess is that must be the case from what I just spoke about before. The only thing being there is if it was stacked. If the units that are stacked with it would be able to move as well, they would be in command as well, wouldn't they? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so looking at this situation, that's what Martin's asking there. If that's more than 2 away, can this only act none of its other? See, it means that this is not in command and this is not in command. Even though this is within 2 of its regimental HQ, I think because this is out of command, it can only move itself. I think that's what, well, he's just wanting to confirm that. I think that's what happens. So at the moment, we can't move this, we can't move that, or this. That's all 3 companies from, and like I say, even though this one is 2 hexes away from that, I mean, they're all within 3 of this, but because this isn't within 2 of that, I think that stops them from getting an action. So ideally what we want to do there is move that guy back into there, don't we? Because he does get a free action. Because I'm pretty sure that was one of the questions that you got to answer, Martin, wasn't it? Because he only commands what is in his hex. So if we had stacked 2 companies with him, they would all get to move, I think. So, but we were spreading units out to get this victory points that we think we might have achieved, and we're still not really sure. Right, so, okay. So I don't think, well, I mean, putting the rifleman on one of these guys would help because it would give it an action, but yeah, I guess I was thinking I might be able to do a bit more, but it's not going to help because I can't put it on that anyway, and that doesn't really help. So, should I put on this guy then? Maybe get him to come along into here. Well, maybe not into there, and go for that purple. You know what? Let's do that. Let's put that guy there. Because he would not be getting an action this turn because he's not in command. However, he is now because he's got a hero. And that was 4th division, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so that's me put one in 4th division. And although I put the other one on the 29th here, they are part of the 2nd division. So I think that's legal. I can only go by, it said the one was to go with each division, but if they're part of that division, that seems okay. Right, Grant. 39 minutes gone. Okay. Well, I could land these units, couldn't I? We've got these 2 battalions. We've still got these guys left over that we held back. Although it's still looking a bit clogged up here. Did I not consider that again and try and move stuff? Oh dear. There's a chance they might still be sitting there then, because I don't really want to. Right, okay. Well, yeah, let's get the game rolling that we Grant. Let's get some landing of these units, and then set up the units for game turn 6. Yeah, okay. I also think there's something else regarding the the points, our points. We get one. Do we get one naval gunfire? At the beginning of the AM game turn of each day, automatically receive one of each. So we need to adjust that. So that's this on game turn 5, and that's an AM game turn. Yeah, it just says AM, mid, PM now, whereas I had the times before. So we get one each of these. So I'm stretching over here. Now we still had two points of 2nd Division artillery points, but I think, hang on, yeah, because within game turns 4's reinforcement list, it lists 14 artillery points for the 4th Marine Division. So I think and we got 6 for game turn 3 for the 2nd Marine Division. So I'm going to go with this as an example on page 19 that tells you. I'm not going to read it. What I'm going to do here is what I think, and what I think is they don't carry on. We would go back to 0, and we would get the 6 again. Now, come game turn 6, when I put the units down to be deployed, well, it's got it in the game turn 6 part, but I don't think that happens until we start game turn 6, which kind of makes sense, but confuses you because you're putting the units in the landing beach boxes. And anyway, so 6 there. However, we should also have 14 from, right, where's that marker? There. We should have 14 for the 4th Division. Right, and then at the end of this day, which is after turn 7, we would get 6 of these again and 14 of these. However, no, we would get another 8 to 2nd Marine Division though. Yeah, you mustn't get them until turn 8 then. I think that's. Maybe I'll look at the example again, but I'm pretty sure I've got that bit right there now. But I might. Well, you don't get them till the AM game turn. It says, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Or did it? Maybe it didn't say that. Right. Here's the example. The 2nd Marine Division receives 6 artillery points on game turn 3. The 2nd would have a total of 6 artillery points to use for game turn 3 and game turn 4, which is what we did. On game turn 5, the player would reset the 2nd Division total artillery points to 6, which I've done. And then on game turn 6, alright, so it is game turn 6, it would add 8 additional points. On game turn 8, the 2nd would have a total of 14 artillery points. That's the 6 and the 8. Okay. To use on game turns 8 through game turn 10. Okay, so they don't reset. It's not an AM thing for them. It's just the turn. So yeah, they'll get them on game turn 6. So when we start game turn 6, the 2nd will have 14 points as well as, yeah. Okay. Right. Okay, let's land some units. Right, okay, let's draw a card and land these. So these are 2nd Division. So landing is a yellow triangle, yellow, I think, yeah, it must be going to fire because there's a yellow position here. I'm not sure it is from that one though. I think it's maybe from this, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. I think that comes right across. It's certainly, there's not anyone that's closer that's that we've taken or anything like that. So my guess is it comes from that yellow position into here. So that is going to be a hat, unfortunately. And it's on the triangle, so that guy's going to take a step loss. And what's the drift? We've got drift 1 left for a diamond, isn't it? Right, that's his step loss. And he's going to drift 1 left. Is that right? Yeah, blue, so, okay. And then next is these guys. Draw a card. Green diamond. Well, it says green fires in here. We might be alright this time though. That's 1, 2. That must be the green position it fires. Because I mean that is 1, 2, 3 away, 3 hexes away from that beach box. So I'm assuming it's that green that fires. So let's say we've got blue there, we've got red, we've got purple, and then this is blue, yellow, brown. There's not another green. So green's okay there, and then alright, okay. I think Martin might have asked this question as well. Of course, these are second division units, but they're in this side, so you know, you would wonder if you'd be selecting the no drift part there. I'm going to go how I read it on the card, and it's drift 2 left, which, to be honest, actually, we probably want these guys. Well, we don't really, because that's a drift 2 left for this guy. Triangle. And he's just going to be all out of sorts, isn't he? Oh no, actually, take that back. We cannot drift, can we? We're not allowed to drift further than this box. So, yeah, there's no drift then at all. You're talking rubbish crap. Right, okay. That's it. And then these guys. Okay, well, let's draw a card for them. Hopefully I'm not getting any casualties. Well, it's a red diamond. Red is indeed firing into here. And what do you know? We've got a diamond. So I suppose that was a risk there. So step was for the diamond, and then drift for 4th. We've got drift 1 right. They cannot drift any further right anyway. Well, actually, we didn't have any circles. So, and yeah, we're gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look in these 2 hexes to find. I mean, okay, I can squeeze. Well, I could put a unit in the headquarters in there, and no, I couldn't. Because then it would be, I don't want to like concentrate it. Well, it's over 10, isn't it? So yeah, I could only like land a unit, full strength. 3, 7, 9, no, that would be 11. Because he's taking a step or something. Right, anyway, let's go in order and land the ones along the other side first, Grant. Yeah, well, it's all blue intense is all firing into that. Well, actually, red fires into there too, Grant. So that is a safer hex. No, I don't want to. I was saying, well, I could even concentrate that, but I don't want to because blue does fire into there. So, oh no, he's got 3 steps. Does that not work? No, it doesn't work, Grant. It's still the same situation. It's going to be 11, isn't it? That's 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? Damn it. Yeah, well, I definitely don't want that situation. So I think I'll land him into there, and I'll land these 2. Now, hang on. These are from second. They're no, their HQ's not on the board yet. So they're like, well, hang on though. Well, no, that's not the case. Because that means that he can only control what he's stacked with. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I can't really do great things about that. A lot of these units are going to be left out of command then, aren't they? So that'll all be in command in that hex because he doesn't have his 3 hex range because his regimental HQ is not even on the map yet. My guess is it might land next turn, but who knows? Maybe not. Right, and then as for this guy, I'll just put him in there because he drifted, so I'll just put him adjacent. That's kind of the best we can do there, I think. Yeah, so these guys are even worse. These are from the 2nd Regiment as well. Where does the regimental HQ deploy then? Any Green Beach. Right, so it is going to be up over that side. Yeah. So we kind of want to be going that way with these guys, but this is a safer hex. Then again, maybe we need to get a move with these guys, and just land on this hex and be done with it. Because at least I can move them together, move them into there maybe. Again, that's going to be movement under fire as well, so right, I'll put that guy in there as well then. Okay, right, let's see this mess here. Right, I'm going to see what's in these other 2 hexes then. Okay, the far away one I've just looked up. It's only got 4 steps of infantry, and so it's got 6 steps, but it's got the 2 companies. And remember, Joe confirmed that, although Martin was asking that could you have an overstacked hex that wasn't concentrated, but Joe come back and confirmed that, well, no. I mean, I think Martin's question was valid, but the answer we got was no. If it's overstacked, it's classed as concentrated. Well, it seems a little strange, and I'm not. To be honest, when I seen Joe looking at that one, I wondered if he was taking everything that Martin was asking into consideration, really. But anyway, you get an answer, you just have to go with it, I suppose. And then this one, right, this one's not as bad. So we've got 3 steps, so we can land something into here. This is 24. Where's there? It's here. Right, yeah, I'm going to land it in here. So we can have... This is disrupted. So actually we can have... Right, hang on, let me pause and think. Yeah, so basically there's no space there. I can put... I was thinking a company at first, but I may actually put the heavy weapons in there with the headquarters. That means I've got 9 steps in there. And then it's in red intense. Well, it's in blue intense as well. Do you really want that, Grant? Yeah, well, I can't put them both in here though, because that would be 12 steps. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 12 steps. Whereas I could put this guy in here, and that's 10 steps. And this is still in here, right? And what we're doing with that, so we're just leaving it leaving it in the water here. Oh, I'm just going to leave it. Yeah. Probably, I might have been better leaving it. But then I wanted the heavy weapons. Well, no, hang on, Grant. Why not leave the heavy weapons? Let me take this back. Leave that in the water. Put that in there. Because it's ranged. And did I say this was a safer hex? No, it's not, is it? And then put this guy in here with the step walls. Oh, that's a tank in there as well. Right, I'm going to put him above him because it's from the same battalion as that. And then that in there. And then we'll leave the heavy weapons back. Because I think it's harder to hit the star. Maybe it's not. You would think it might be rarer to have a star come up on... Yeah, okay. Right, let's go with that. So this is the last part of the units to land, actually. Apart from once we start bringing in the army units, aren't they? They're army units, aren't they? but that doesn't happen until game turn 9. So that's us for a bit. Well, we've got these. And any green beach, so it does have to be this side. And this is the 2nd Regimental headquarters. We just deployed some of them there, and then unfortunately some of them are over there. So, yeah, I mean, we want to keep it as close as possible to there, I suppose. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? We're just going to have to put them in there and hope for the best, I think. So yeah, that's it. That's everything deployed. Okay, so we move on to HQ. I thought I was getting an event first. It's the other way about, isn't it? I thought I'm not going to go into the HQ phase yet because we're almost at an hour. I thought the event came first. I thought I was going to draw the event card for a bit of excitement to finish the turn, but finish the part. Yeah, I'll cut here because I don't know what this is all new stuff. Steps are place garrison markers in eligible position hexes within command range of a US command post. So my guess is that won't be happening until I've converted into command post. Now, going by the old games, you could only convert HQs into command posts if they weren't sitting in field of fire. So again, probably going to look and say, oh, I should have done that better, should have placed that unit better, etc. Because I think this is in green field of fire, isn't it? For instance, this one here, and we've got a Japanese unit firing in there. So I would guess I couldn't create a command post there until we either deal with that or move it to a safer hex that doesn't have a field of fire. And then to convert regimental HQ units to command posts and increase the command range of previously established command posts. Yeah, that's what I was saying, to try and convert these. There might be one or two that could convert if we wanted to. It's possible. I mean, I know the games in the past, you sometimes wanted to move your command inland a little bit because I want to say the maximum range is probably... Is it not? Where's... there, it's there. Yeah, Martin asked the question about this as well. Apparently this doesn't match up with... I don't think what's said in the rulebook, because it goes 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and it talks... I believe it talks something different. To be honest, I've not studied that, but I think he asked a question about that. Anyway, so you can get up to 6, which means, if you do settle on putting this here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's quite far into the map, but you can see that it's not right into the map, and if you can only stretch out to there, what do you do after that? So you've got to decide if you need to get them moving a little bit more before sort of settling them as command posts. And next, I shouldn't really be going through these because I'm going to have to go through them when we do this. Step 3 is expend replacement points to rebuild units and replace step losses. Replacement points, yeah, do you get a selection of them then? How many of them do you get? I don't know, I'm not sure how it works. But that needs to be units that are in reserve already, I think. And then step 4 is the one that we're still baffled about, I think. Assign tank and engineer units to US battalions. Now, Joe mentioned something about them needing to be in reserve. So that starts to make me wonder a little bit, because the last step is place units and HQs into reserve. And I think they need to be in reserve to get replacement points. And looks to me like if they're in reserve, they might be able to then be assigned. But I don't know how that works, and I don't know how you note the fact that they're part of such and such, part of a battalion. I don't know how you take note of that. Is there counters for that? You know what, there could be. There is some mixture of random sort of other counters. That's 4th Division artillery points used. How have we got... right, okay. I didn't realise there was 2 markers for that then. So that's why I think you leave it at 16 and then use that to count down. Right, I didn't notice that. and then you leave it at the 16, and that starts again, unless you happen to get any more. See, that looks like replacements there, that counter. I know these don't show up very well. I'm better actually laying them on the map, but I think it's my tweezers getting in the way. Okay, right, we'll leave things for now, because that's an hour. I know not an awful lot done there again, and I'm maybe still just trying to kill time and whatever, so I might add another comment in the header to just let people know that there's not an awful lot going on if they want to just maybe even not even bother watching it. I'd like to think there's still some information in these that it could be useful and the likes, but maybe not. If I could cut down on my all the yakking on that I do, it might be more watchable for people. But I've tried. I can't seem to really do it. So okay, I'll leave that for now. I'll get this uploaded, and yeah, probably not tomorrow. But a bit of work happening now, so yeah, I'll be back when I'm back. Okay, cheers.